We spend about a third of our entire lives asleep. That's something like 25 years. It is absolutely essential to who we are. So, what would happen if you just stopped? Let's find out. We're going to dive into the shocking chronological descent of what happens to your mind and body during a 7-day no-sleep challenge.
So yeah, that's the big question, right? What really happens if you don't sleep for 7 straight days? We're going to walk through this whole experience pretty much hour by hour, so you can see what happens. And trust me, this goes way, way beyond just feeling a little tired. This is about the complete and total unraveling of your reality.
Okay, so let's begin the journey. The first 2 days are, well, they're a bizarre roller coaster. It doesn't start with exhaustion, which you might expect. No, it starts with a strange, deceptive high, and then a sudden, steep collapse.
So after that first energy crash hits you around the 18-hour mark, something really weird happens. At 24 hours, you suddenly feel fantastic. The world seems super positive, everything is hilarious, and you are just filled with energy. But this is a trick, because by 36 hours, that high is long gone, your judgment is shot, and by the 48-hour mark, your body's defenses are already starting to get weaker.
So what on earth is causing that bizarre 24-hour high? Well, this is the culprit right here. Your brain's reward system, the mesolimbic pathway, it gets hijacked. Without sleep to keep it in check, it just starts pumping out dopamine, the pleasure chemical. It's a totally false, temporary state of bliss, and it's basically the brain's first major malfunction.
Right, so as you cross that 48-hour mark, the dopamine party is over. It just vanishes, and that leads you straight into the next stage. Your behavior becomes erratic. Your speech starts to halt and slur. You start making these impulsive, really poor decisions. To anyone watching you at this point, you would seem completely and totally intoxicated.
And why is all that happening? Well, it's because this part of your brain, you can think of it as the CEO, the one in charge of all your higher-level thinking, is beginning to shut down. Your frontal lobe, the part that governs your personality, your reasoning, your ability to plan, it's going offline.
And the shutdown of your frontal lobe has immediate, very real consequences. Complex thought? Forget about it. It becomes impossible. Even something as simple as basic math like 2 plus 2 is now an unsolvable puzzle. Your cognitive abilities are just collapsing.
Now we get to the third day, and this is where things get truly frightening. That clean, sharp line that separates your internal world from the external world, it just starts to dissolve.
And this is the result. Your brain becomes so desperate for that dream state it's been denied, it just starts creating it while you're still conscious. This is the beginning of full-blown hallucinations. The world of your subconscious starts bleeding into your waking perception.
Now, to understand why this is happening, you've got to look at the 2 types of sleep. While both are important, REM sleep, the dream state, is so biologically essential for our survival that your brain actually has a fail-safe. If it can't get REM sleep the normal way, it will force the experience on you, whether you're awake or not.
So what does day 3 actually feel like? Well, it's basically a waking nightmare. The world around you feels unreal, kind of like you're in a simulation or a video game. You start hearing these auditory hallucinations, strange sounds that just aren't there. And your ability to focus, it's virtually gone. Your concentration is plummeted by a staggering 90%.
As we enter days 4 through 6, the focus shifts. It's less about a fracturing mind and more about a failing body. Your core physiological systems, one by one, now begin to systematically shut down. The first thing to go is your perception of time. It becomes profoundly distorted. To you, the entire world seems to be moving in slow motion. Even trying to speak becomes this monumental effort, with a lag of 1, maybe 2 seconds just to get a single word out.
And that slow motion effect, it's not just a feeling. It has really dangerous physical consequences. Your reaction time to any physical stimulus is now 5 seconds.
Just think about that for a second. If someone were to physically slap you across the face, it would take 5 full seconds for your brain to even process that it happened. This is a catastrophic breakdown of communication between your central nervous system and the rest of your body.
At this point, your brain also closes what you can think of as its memory box. The mechanism for making new memories, for logging new experiences, it just shuts down. You are now literally adrift in time, completely unable to record the present moment.
Meanwhile, inside your skull, a really toxic situation is developing. See, one of sleep's most important jobs is to flush out waste proteins from the brain. Without sleep, this toxic protein, beta amyloid, builds up to dangerous levels, literally poisoning your brain from the inside out.
And then comes hormonal collapse. For instance, your testosterone levels just crater. By day 6, they've dropped to the equivalent of a 90-year-old man. Your body is biologically aging itself by decades in just a matter of days.
And now, we arrive at the climax of this whole journey. Day 7 and beyond represents the absolute edge of human endurance. This is the point where the person you were is almost completely gone.
And that is not an exaggeration. By day 7, you are, for all intents and purposes, a living zombie. You can no longer think, you can't talk, you can't remember, you can't even walk properly. Even the simple act of balancing your own body is beyond your capability. You've become a ghost in your own machine.
So how long can this possibly go on? Well, the official, documented world record for sleeplessness is 264 hours. That's about 11 days. It was set by a guy named Randy Gardner back in 1964, and he described himself as a complete zombie for the last several days of that whole ordeal.
But here is maybe the most surprising fact of this entire journey. You can't actually die directly from a lack of sleep. See, your body has one last non-negotiable failsafe. Before it reaches a fatal point, your brain will simply force you into unconsciousness. It will shut down, whether you want it to or not.
So, in the end, yeah, your body will save itself from physical death. But that leaves us with one final and kind of chilling question. After 7 days of a fractured reality, of hallucinations, of a complete breakdown of thought and memory, would your mind ever truly recover